Men can acquire swords that can make them infinitely stronger, but the male masters do not care about that. This is because he has the skill of a violent eater. He can kill his enemies every time to gain skill and ability value from his opponents. For this reason, the man lord has perfected reciprocity, a characteristic that ordinary people do not know fear. However, the first male lord of Qi does not live in dismay entirely that such detritus as man lord live. Of course, there are examples of this as well. For example, this holy knight's name is Sushan. He always solves various difficulties for the man lord and tells the man lord that he can find himself. But the man lord does not answer. He, the previous guard, knew that those people live and die by small movements. So after he exchanged with Sushan, the man lord walked sadly. He resents the unlawfulness of his fate. If only. So the man lord suddenly notices. A few cheeky at night, the master began to study the attribute face of the master. The most important thing to remember is that the level of the goblin master view. I found her. I found her. I found her. I got her. I got her. I found her. I found her. Able to complete the job with the sword if he gets back his sacred weapon. Twice. At this time, the man lord is a little scared. When the opponent uses this technique, his grave weed is 2.5 meters in total. He wants to struggle more and become stronger, as he did not think anyone could compel him to this degree. The bandits that day, he abandoned the silver merchant at the castle gate guard. He promised to work at Sushan's house, but upon awakening he did not heal. But the man needed all of his ability. After all the capacity of the sword, the black sword has changed to a new look. The man's research has changed in some way. The sword is still showing that there is only one person who can be used as a family member to make a trial from scratch. I think the man will come to the monastery to check on me because I'm a commoner and I don't want to be seen as one. Wait a minute, Roxy. The grid is awakened by the fact that the name has changed and the woman's name has been changed so much that the man is now calling the woman's friend by the name of the man's friend. Yu shi ju shang li ke he ta dui ji ke hen kue bei nu zu zu lan sha lai ta ke bu rong shu nan zu je yong ku bao shi yong wu chi wa shi je mi shuo ba wo hai shi tu yi si jian fei te na dan shou jian nan zu gang ting wan ju dun gon bu yao den lai fei wu ji and become a monster guy wei the woman lord knows the skill the man master does not want to know that the woman master knows the skill. Soon the weapon was released under tension. The female master made contact and saw the weapon. When I returned, I ate grapes with the male master. The male owner has a very good sense of contact. Look at it. Our grapes are really good. When he finished saying it, he became aware that he was going to expose. Grid Admiration played a job in the Heart House with his best friend, and the man lord resolved the exposure crisis for a reason. However, I do not expect the Holy Knight to come to this commoner district. She is very much in mourning after the humans found her. What is she doing? I could hear the man owner unexpectedly getting angry and saying she wanted to struggle her in front of her. The man lord heard her say she wanted to struggle her. The man lord heard her say that she wanted to struggle her. The male master heard a voice saying that he wanted to give her a hard time. I heard a voice saying, the lord wants to give her a hard time. The male master heard a voice saying that he wanted to give her a hard time. I heard a voice saying, the lord wants to give her a hard time. The man said the man was a man who had been in love with a woman for a long time, and that he had never been in love with a woman, and that he had never been in love with a man, and that he had never been in love with a man, and that he had never been in love with a woman. After relaxing, he said it is normal, so he should think nothing of it. He forgot and left. The man lord was tired. He found it difficult to take charge of the Gohana messenger. The hostess then came to the front of the jewelry store. He immediately showed her his favorite jewelry products, but he did not choose to shop. He took the man lord with him. The reason is that he could not use this stuff normally, and then I received a message from a roadside person. The kindergarten in Pinggonggong is looking for a question. They are to thank for lowering the ears of the 5. The female master, he has recently been investigating wandering demons around King's Landing. When the man lord finished listening, he was amazed. Isn't it me, the wandering demon? Later, they came to a small liquor store. The manager of the small liquor store was immediately terrified. He wanted to die because the man lord he wanted to die for was alive. They sat down and the owner of the liquor house took back the festival watchout. The man owner was surprised when he brought the girl back. When the female owner finished listening, he polished the bottle. The male master did the same, and the manager of the liquor house did not blame him for the crime. He typed in what was essentially a bad one. Soon the two investigated incidentally, Grandpa Yade had just entered, and after he finished explaining, the man lord talked to him. He thought the wandering demons were wolves. So depending on the Chuan Yan, Grid was told that the Holy Knight would soon attack, so Grid took care of the man lord. The man-lord was concerned because his current ability level was specified as not being able to beat the Holy Knight. What if the wandering demon was me? But soon people came. The most luminous light wanted to have fun with the Lady Lord, and he was soon sent flying with a single blow. After a long time, the people around them recognized who the landlady was, and they kneeled down to see if Luo could get the money for the zenith bag. Gan Lai Bing Rang Lan Mao Fang Shou Wu Nai Ji Sha Lan Mao Fang Kai La Shou. They were the first to leave after that, but before they left, Age gave a stern word to the man owner. He was not worried about taking off. Later, when it was almost night, they sent the boys to their mother. After they returned, the two did indeed reprimand the woman's pa. The next day, the male owner purchased a mask from a dealer. The reason for the purchase is that the mask has a cognitive impairment effect. After returning, he sent the primitive object to the female master. And this is the jewelry that the male owner bought from the dealer. But on the other side of the densely populated daily routine is the meeting site of the cursed men's platoon. They're the ones who ask them, "Do you like my girl?" This word is mean for girls and cowardly for boys. My mother felt it was necessary. She can understand the attitude of her subordinate protagonist. The boy then expresses that I admire your girl. If I could do that, I would take her life for the rest of my life. When the boy finished expressing himself, the girl stood up in the building in surprise. My mother never saw the admiration. I remember her crying as a child, but now she has grown up for the Holy Knight of Yorigaki. This is not by not eating, but by cursing his skills. Therefore, he needs to leave the Suzuan and go hunting for the experienced treasure he needs. However, he encounters a strange person on the street. He has never met the man-lord before, yet he seems to know him. He said in wonder, "The man-lord found this man very strange. Grid, if you ask him, I do not know." Roxy approached him, he approached the man-lord, he approached him, he approached him, he approached him, he approached him. 4,000 years ago, Jaria was said to be a prosperous country, but their military power is very strong. But with the demon's destruction, few of the people remained. It could have been a grape farm the next day. This is where the tragic demons were defeated. Only grape residue was left at the scene. The Hart family came to take advantage of the information disappearance. Before the xenomorphs disappeared, one side of the high place transmitted voice echoes Sui Hu Quan Shu Yi Ji Zheng Da Tu Demo Wu Ji Ran Yi Shi Di Yi Si Jian Nan Zhu Zheng Zhao Gao Ta Dui Ling Hun De Ke Chu Kai Shi Le Jie Li Dei Ti Xing Jie Shi Jin Ru Le Ban Ji Yi Zhuang Tai Nan Zhu Dan Shin Ru Guo. Zai Buku Tan Shi Zi Ji Yan Ju Wei Shun Jian Bu So Bu Wo Ta Dan Shin Mo Wu Deng Ji Guo Ren Pei Da Ju Shi Bu Yi Ban Zong Do Deng Ji 50 Ji Bei Fu Yu Le Wan Ning Mo Wu Yan Wei Guo Yu Zheng Yuan Da Di Wan Gu. They did not act hastily, but later softened the ethnic group. Roxy intends to solve this case soon, and then go early tomorrow. At that time, they surrounded the whole one-branch platoon, and their man-lord had a warrior-class demons, forgetting and leaving their man-lord. That night, their male lord became a righteous messenger. First, he immediately took out his single-handed sword. He then changed his form of attack for entry. His target is not a chieftain, but a lower-level demon. After a long time, he leaned on the kill and returned to his original position before he was able to solve the problem. Tu Shila Sha Ji Mo Wu then used inertia to kill him. He used soul-absorbing skills and opened a single-handed sword Wei Ji. This use gives 10% of the total capacity value. Next, the second form of the bow is opened and enlightened. Next, the second form of the bow is opened and enlightened. Next, the second form of the bow is opened and enlightened. Next, the second form of the bow is opened and enlightened. Next, the second form of the bow is opened and enlightened. Next, the second form of the bow is opened and enlightened. Next, the second form of the bow is opened and enlightened. Next, the second form of the bow is opened and next, the second form of the bow is opened and enlightened. Next, the second form of the bow is opened and enlightened. Next morning, the knight arrested before was surprised. Who made these views? At 10 p.m., Roxy went home and told her mother about the view she had seen. Immediately he had his doubts, because he had seen the girl before. He was told that the Carians were universally good fighters. He did not think the girl had made it. In the afternoon, the man-lord came here. Roxy's mother was asking for a favor from the man-lord. He wished to be with her side all the time. He wished he could be with her all the time. He hopes to be by her side for a long time because of his starvation. When the sun comes down, I will look at the sun again and see if I can't find the Lord. Whoever is the Holy Knight of the Night will be able to say that he is the one.
Who knows exactly who is in high hands? He was nervous and returned to reality. He expressed his desire to feel fear. For insurance purposes, the master invoked his appraisal skills. But the master was worried that Brelik's weapon would win out a little bit. In that case, please avenge me. He is dropped into the air and can change his weapon to a magic launcher and move into position to aim at the person falling into the air.
After the torpedo is extinguished, only the upper half of his body remains. The exterior exhales and the flux of light does not kill him. The man owner asked about Roxy Hut. They recommended Roxy and he said he wanted to go right away. He stated his declaration.
I said that I would like to go to Caria if by going I could save many people of the kingdom.
The Blairco is now separated from the master, and the master's ability has changed, so the master can leave the Holy Knight. Because of this, the qualification as a Holy Knight has already been attained, and he has the skills of a Holy Sword, but he is not expected to be qualified for this position.
The choice of the owner of the car is made, and the news is good, since the second weapon is released to everyone. After the glare, Bree changes into a god of death with a sword that can cut through anything. The destination is in Calia, where there are frequent stampedes. I'll find a restaurant.
He was told that the manager wanted Maya and wanted to Jungju the village. The Maya said that he
The shopkeeper is not a man who wants the villagers to wait for him because he is a man who is not used by the villagers.
He only wants to help the village as a male owner. Garai thinks he can answer, and the male master can fulfill his capacity for binge eating. The man lord then allowed the consignment. He went with him to the village at night, but after the village head made the man lord known to him, he lost his good looks.
Why did you return the one who ran away?
Saito heard his father's bins. We had no choice. No one wants to be commissioned by the other 5. They do not rise high, each and every one of them is lazy, but the mayor refuses to let the Saito father take the barmaid's hands away from the bins during the
prolonged period of time. The barmaid is still asleep after the bins have been opened, and the barmaid understands that the information entrusted to her is from a flying monster that is attacking people in a probing manner. For the first time, the man is now comatose and sleeping peacefully. Yao zai zuo sui ck okugai yuhei seki mo shou ding shang.
Jie Li Ling Yi Bian Luo Chi Shi Zheng Zai Shi Ying Gang Dao. He starts talking to the Kanyashenti. And at the same time, the lab room, the woman is analyzing the goblins that the man killed. From the wound, it does not seem to hit the sword history. After translating the books, he found the answer. The weapon that injured him was a magic sword, and the weapon was a gallet in the hand of the male master. The male possesses the skill of turning back the soul. However, daily life is still weak in vision, and when fat is harvested and drowsiness drugs are taken, death occurs.
But the demons outside are corrupt. They continue to invade the village. To awaken him, Saito waits for Fareda back while he is forced into her body. She finally awakens, but the demons outside do not leave her. In order to extinguish the demons, she transforms her weapon into a Lian Dao, pulls out the light genus Wei Nen. She pulls her out. 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 The last beautiful arc line will be the devil's chieftain, and he will be able to use his binge eating skills to make the owner of the village have more fire and sunlight. The father of one of the villagers asks too many questions, and the girl's father disappears. Do you have any idea if he's already made up his mind to release you? Ing. The man who was at the end of his resolution visited his father and made a good impression on him. The village had disappeared, but the man and his father had not disappeared in the past. When they got to the road in Gaul, the stable master had to warn the man that he had given them 3 gold coins, but they had asked him to keep them safe. The man lord told the horseman there was no problem, but the carriage stopped because there were runaways in front of it. They were demanding to buy the road, but left all the way and then went away. Who thought the next moment the horseman was holding a cry? He thought the man lord had let him go. This girl is very humble. She is Ely. Everyone says that she is a monster. 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 She is a killer. 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 The man is hungry, but he is not always hungry, so this is a good way to deal with it. The monster is a paper glue, but if there is a monster at the core, he will not die. To help him, escape. The man lord changes his weapon to a magic bow and designates the location of the nucleus from which he flees. Immediately gains 20% ability value and explodes in power. After the storming of the monster, Ling Hun Hu Nanzu Huo de Shinji Sha Shin Mo Fa Er Ta Si Ban Lai Yi Ji Shi Wei Le Tian Dao Ji Er Fei Shang Jie Zhen De Yao Ju Yuan Shao Dui Bu Bo Xin Yin De Ke Wa Hai Shi Yao Shuo De Jie Tian Nanzu Shen Jiao Li Ko Yin Da Fei Le Sheng Chi Shi Ryu Shi Ta Kan Bu Guan Lu Mao Shuo Zi Ji Shi Kusai Shao Gui Shi Wo Jian Guo Zui Kai Gua De Nanzu Bie Ren Da Bai Mo Wu Kao De Shi Ji Shu Ta Kao De. The number of resources is 2 million, and it is possible to use it to reduce the number of monsters, but it is not possible to use it to reduce the number of intelligent creatures, but it is possible to use it to reduce the number of humans with long-term combat experience. Earlier, the male lord and the horsehawk are going toward Kalia, but the man owner wonders. He is not binge eating, he keeps eating food. What is happening? He bought a lot in one bite, but he eats tirelessly because he consumes calorific value in order to live. The surprise man owner is here to furnish the price. Clearly, there is too much to eat. The male lord activated the ability for the girl. He can change the weapon weight and the opponent cannot defend. Also, the sudden weighting of the weapons caused all the wagons to stand up and the wooden wheels to break. Let the man who will repair the wheel, let him have the cost to maintain the horse. I want to repair the wheel and let the man take care of the cost. I don't see Ma Ying. I don't see the girl Ma Ying at this moment. I've seen it all before, and I've seen it all again. I've seen it all before, and I've seen it all again. When the man who was invading comes back, the owner goes away. When the man who was invading comes back, the owner follows him. The old man was sitting on a tree in the village. The old man was sitting on a tree in the village. The man is facing the other man. One question: how doubtful the old man is about what he will do. At any moment, and whether he agrees with the man's extraction of weapons. Jie Li De Ta Tong Yi La Si Shi Jiao Feng Liang Ren Hen Kue Zan Do La Yi Chi Fan Guan Lao JJ Bian Ta Jian Jian, pointing at the man after he has killed his opponent. The man clearly sees that the relationship is not a kind of Yuan Fen Mei Kuo Lao Jie Tong Yi La Nanzu Lu Zai Kun Zi Li Jia Su Er Tiao Jian, because the old man was training. During this period, he felt that he was not in a position to give the man his consent. After Hu Ma Ying Chu Xian Zai La Peng Bian Hu Ma Ying Chu Xian Zai La Peng Bian Hu Ma Ying Chu Xian Zai Peng Bian Hu Ma Ying Chu La Peng. You're putting in too much force, you need to relax more. In the range where you can refrain. From this kind of martial arts training, it's always a good idea to practice when you're resting and you'll suddenly see the demonic taste of the fortress in the distance. After the old man left the village, he died without a trace, and the image on his face was drawn by a horse hawk. During the dinner time, the owner of the restaurant will let you know that he will not be able to stop eating the food because he will have to leave the restaurant tomorrow. But the food will taste better in his mouth. The reason why the old man's family member died in the attack, but after death, it doesn't hurt completely. But the demon that is perfumed with a grudge against you will be alive and kicking. His family has been in trouble for 15 years, and he was cut off before it was time to leave.
Impossible. Looking at the screen in front of him, he does not believe at all that his family is still there. Furthermore, he waits for himself as before, but after a time, his family cut himself off. He immediately resisted the reaction, demanding that he not have to deal with his family himself. However, he began to deal with the living family with his own avenging grudge. At the same time, he soon found the Mad Demon King.
He sent his ability sword flexibly, but the Mad Demon King just scraped through the shards. He confirms the Mad King's 100th grade, and after the fall of the land, the Lord of the Widow King now uses the same skill to purify the sacred sword as the Lord of the Widow King has been using at any time since.
His arrival. Sui ren jie gi wei ding wan le zheng 15 yen dan jia ren mei yu ku guai zui lao ren ji zhong jin ru lun wei de liang ren gao bie zu lao jie zai jie zui hu hu yi ke lao jie zhong kai dao 15 yen dan shou li their families. They leave their families. They parted with their families. They parted 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 their families. And the man lord came here last night, and one night later, he and the man lord solved the
They started attacking, but suddenly the white hairs flew up in the sky and started cutting the huge sword with the weapon, and a smoke cloud came out, and after the smoke cloud the armor appeared, and they were isolated before him, and there was a girl in his midst, and he was the core of the armor, and he needed to annihilate the armor to take him down. To defeat him, we had to annihilate the armored core. This mission was given to the master. At that time the master looked for an opportunity to deliver the final blow, but he was afraid that the nude woman would be in trouble forever in pain, and the white hairs could not see through the master. He said that if she returned to Tianjin, he could die. Began to act separately. Bai Mao and Ma Eagle attacked the angel with their own fighters the man lord side.
However, she had no effect. On the contrary, the white hairs began to grow stronger. Each time she attacks, the next attack will be much heavier. However, she becomes very weak. At that moment, the converted woman suddenly shouted loudly. After one dan white light, the armor changed. She has become a true parochial angel. She immediately demonstrates a skill attack. 2 defenses and a great invitation at the same time.
The first is the male lord. She used the magic sword with 10% ability value. After the girl's hair is released, the weapon is released and the girl's hair is released from the girl's body. The girl's alteration appears at the same time as the angel's disappearance, and the male owner recognizes the girl's hair and forgets how many memories he has of her. After the loss of a man's master, in other words, only the white hairs can stop him from killing himself. The manager heard the voice, so there is no need to go out and check. He needs to find out the master's body. He needs to regain some details, and he felt the desire to destroy the master's combat.
He needed to begin to find the master's body, get back a few details, and felt the master's willingness to destroy the battle. So talented, Grid reassured the master, bought the equipment and examined the quality of the shuriken further. The manager immediately quoted a price. He asked for 500 gold coins. After it was known, the man lord hurried away. 1 minute's glance at the amount of money can embarrass the sweat of a hero. In order to acquire the cost of the equipment, the man lord made up his mind and started hunting. We soon came to Caria.
Here the demon frog is unstable and the air changes rapidly. Each breath adds poison to the body. After breathing for a long time, the lungs are filled with green moss and the air is filled with the poisonous disease that suddenly takes hold of the man. After the demon's soul has been destroyed, the owner will come back to the convertible bank and he will be able to see the amount of demons he has hunted. I'm so sorry for the pain I've endured from the man who's coming to kill.
Me, but I'm sure the people on the road are not satisfied with the way I've been treated.
Handle their gold coins perfectly. 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 Handle their gold coins.
Perfectly, handle their gold coins perfectly. He needs to advertise his store, so a fighter is his best choice. The male owner did not refuse.
He agreed. Who would refuse? After the equipment was renewed, the man-lord walked down the road. A little later, he was charmed by the women he inspected. A woman stood in front of a liquor store. He could charm one customer with a smile. He has the same hermaphroditic skills with her male master. He immediately started talking with his male master. Her name is Iris. Her skill is the sin of color habit among the 7 sins. She supervised a male master before, for example, the holy knight Roxy, who is the only one who is offered in this world. If his death could be replaced in the future thousands of years after the kingdom, Iris would be killed by Hao Fuyu, and then the male master would kill him.
Mankind's hatred and resentment creates perfidious demons. By using this foundation, humanity can create perfidious demons. And in this world, people believe that Roxy is the best object of hatred. People can prevent his death, and the accumulation of hatred and resentment can make people persistently oppress people. Finally, a man of destiny is born who will rule 1,000 years of the kingdom, and he will go to Caria in a platoon that will lead a new system of power, a surprise attack around the world. Because they had an unknown loss of power, the male owner would make equipment materials in a certain place. After the first stage of time, the male master closed his eyes and began to rest.
However, after closing his eyes, he entered the space of consciousness. His surroundings are a blank slate. After a long time, the man is going to be killed by another group of people.
Wei shi zai shui wei shi jian bei tu shi de xiao dui ren yuan nei yu zuo chu ji shi fang bei yi di er di jiao lian bai sha gen lai. The moment came when the man lord resisted the attack. The
Man owner was quickly chased as he spotted the demon's movement. The male lord is not afraid of demonic beasts. He defeated the enemy with a direct hit.
The master received thanks from the platoon of holy knights. Next up was Yandio. The man lord gathered equipment materials and the holy knight platoon completed its mission.
The man lord found a suitable person to enter the forest. Last time Iris showed her crazy face. The man lord doesn't know what he is doing now, but there is a great deal of anxiety in his heart.
The man owner found a parochial stone, but there is no core, so he can't move. Zai Gtian Shi de Yubian Yu San Gi Ming Xian King Wei, Hen Xian Ren Jagi Shi I Li Si de Shou Jiao. The explosion appears inside the building and the man starts to rush to support. The last time an angel is activated with its true power, it suddenly attacks and the master is right in the middle of the action. The man's head was not explained until after he arrived at the scene, and he was the first one to launch a 2-arrow attack.
The only thing this toy does is attack the weakest point. The center of the core is the magical show that will be replaced by the love screen, and the others will be appropriated by the source of power.
To defeat the 3 parasitic angels, the man lord and Roxy begin to attack together, but discover that they are no closer than anything else. When a paritical angel is in danger, he defends himself at the core by placing his hands in front of his chest. But he did not imagine the man lord's underbelly. The male lord slashed one sword and began to make the parched angel's defenses fail. Roxy behind him then slashed the knight's single sword, after which the two again avoided this maneuver. After the Aikido union and a fast slash, another key angel fell immediately. Now there is only one key angel left standing. To solve the problem quickly, the two tried to avoid Jishu, but the battlefield suddenly collapsed and a large cave suddenly split in the ground, quickly taking them out.
Roxy the man lord is Te Lien strict because the man lord has suffered the greatest injury to himself. When he woke up, he discovered that he had fallen and suddenly found his mask.
Fortunately, when the man lord suddenly renewed his illness, they began to commune. However, the man lord suddenly developed symptoms. The hunger that brought him the skills he used came again. The male owner decisively left the place to suddenly explode. However, he developed symptoms during his rapid activity. A short time later, the key angel appeared and attacked him.
After the key angel appeared, the man owner changed his weapon form. He then avoided the attack as normal. Soon after, he received a big leap in front of the plain angel.
But when the man approaches the attack, the core of his demons is the demon shark. After the
fight, the man who ran to the side of the man who was talking about the 56 violent incidents that had been happening for the past month was the man who was the main reason for the man who was challenged by the man who was the only one who thought of him. I'll join the king's army, but I'm
not sure how much I want to be a part of it.
The blonde immediately changed his attitude. He knew the master would say so, but the master threatened him that he did not agree and caught him in his jail cell. The master sword Tsuyoshi agreed in vain and took out his new kendo single-handed sword. Soon the blonde was fighting with the master and he started to use his power. The master had the ability to reach 1,000,000, but he instantly fell into the lower winds. The master sword Tsuyoshi was not going to stop fighting. He immediately used his sword skills and took out his new kendo sword. But he did not stop fighting. He immediately used his sword technique and sent the blonde knight flying, but at this moment the blonde knight found a necklace. Listen to this. The knight let go of his stiff sword and let the man know that the swordsmanship used by the knight was a result of learning from
Yaling before he came to Japan. He tried to, but the man owner refused. However, they originally parted the blonde knight and the man lord, and the man lord returned to his room to rest. The blonde knight and the man are separated. The man is separated from the blonde knight and the man is separated from the man. The man is separated from the blonde knight and the man. The man is separated from the blonde knight and the man. The man is separated from the blonde knight and the man. The man is separated from the blonde knight and the man. The man is separated from the blonde knight and the man. The man is separated from the blonde knight and the man. The man is separated from the blonde knight and the man. The man is separated from the blonde knight and the man. The man is separated from the blonde knight and the man. The man is separated from the blonde knight and the man. The blonde knight is now in the city and the city is in distress. The king's army will be destroyed by the demons, but he will only be starved by the side effects of the skills he is using. In order to solve the Wang Hong army of blonde knight lords, the man lord decided to change the weapon form. I attack him with a magic attack, using a 2x spinning sword user. Soon after, the demon frog that was attacked. But his head marks are not too familiar. It was a good job done by Iris this time. The lord of the Uber frogs bounced back determinedly. Immediately, he used his appraisal skills and demonstrated more than 10 million of the demonic animal's ability to assist. The owner then changed his weapon to a shield to resist the attack. At the same time as the raindrops, the man appears to be more willing to move back into the area before the acid rain comes because of the peristalsis on the skill corrosion area, causing him to fight too close to the enemy. The army is gone and the demon is gone, and now the plan to attack the demon with 20% more power is still unrealized. And the demon will be inside the demon's body before you know it, and then it will attack your insight, and you will be so suspicious of this demon that you will not be able to see its soul in action. How quickly he grasps his target. When the demon jumps, he starts to break up the animal, which is very hard to kill because of the core of the animal that has been in the body before. When the attacker is killed by the wind, he realizes how quickly he is killed and how quickly he is killed, but then he realizes how he is killed again. Compared to him and Iris, he relatively directly he recognizes Iris, but compared to him and Iris, he relatively directly he recognizes Iris, but compared to him and Iris, he relatively directly he recognizes Iris, but compared to him and Iris, he recognizes Iris. He realizes not to let the man lord far away from him, and he makes his skills fail. The man lord suddenly launches an attack, but after a moment's difference, he slashes his arm, and the man lord immediately dies invincibly. The next moment, the
illusionary magic behind his body is the principle of the man master, and the man master takes advantage of the confidence gap to gain the opportunity to slay the illusionary, and his slain arm is the key to the game of gambling.
Her name is Luna, but she is not happy. She is love. She maintains this space, and the male master does not bitterly regret his skills.
Now, the power of restraint will soon disappear. The owner will soon reach the limit of his restraint. After the space is broken, the master is pulled up to the front of the room and he is able to turn his head to look at his surroundings. The ability to focus on the key is the ability to evolve the weapon on the 4th floor. Mine holds the weapon in both hands and the man-lord waits for death. He Iris began to express.
Noza, who fights the male lord, is not a man behind his back. He has a black spear sword Iway in his arsenal. He knew the Iway of the backward man, but he could not destroy the weapon of mortal sin. Mine solved the problem directly.
He dumped his weapon far away from Jiraiya. This time, Iris Rai meant to cooperate with the man-lord, and he found a new situation with the man-lord.
However, the man-lord cannot refuse. Later, the man-lord desires consent outside the window, and it is known that the injured arm can be restored. Of course, he must leave quickly, but the man-lord's skillful reflexes were not limited to him. When he returned to his room later, Roxy found Shinsei. He sensed the man-lord's determination, and he is preparing future meetings powered by this.
As well as the other side, the man who used 40% of the ability to use weapons as a medium to use the ball of light under these effects has been able to get rid of the man with the hands and arms of Aili Si and Ma Yin Li Kula Er Ta Men Sha Cgn Mian Shi Zai Wang Do Yu Luo.
Shi Shi Dai Ling De Xiao Dui Yi Kai Shin Zheng Sheng Nanzu Kk Hatsu